गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om Narayan Narayan. So the difference between Ajnani and Jnani in Gita, 5th chapter, 14th shloka. Okay. In the 13th, it was stated about the 16th. Okay, 16th we have to start. Okay. Anyway, briefly I'll say this difference between Jnani and Ajnani is stated here in 14th shloka. Nakartrutvam nakarmani lokasya srajati prabhu nakarma phala sanyogam swabhavastu pravartate. So Jnani is free from all modifications. He is nirvikara. So neither he has a kartrutvam, the agency of action. Kartrutvam is a relationship, individuality, a relationship, and also a modification. These three qualities are involved in kartrutvam. A karta, who can be karta? Karta means one who initiates an action, continues it, and completes it. A person or something which is a center of action, which is a basis of action. Action is a movement. Okay. So what is a basis for movement? You can't have a movement in the space. A movement has always to take place. Something, murta padartha. Murta means having a form. An object which has got a form, on that alone the movement takes place. Like wind moves, water moves, an object moves. Space doesn't move. Space doesn't change, modify, because space has no shape. Something which has got a shape, something which is located in time and place, can move to next moment. If it is located in time, it can move to the next moment. What is located in space, it can move to another place. If it has got a form and shape, it can assume another form. Okay. The space can't change, can't undergo any change. So a karta has to have a particular shape or particular individuality. He must have a particular individuality, and he should exist in time and place. Then some movement starts from him. He becomes a center of the movement. Movement means some act, some action. He becomes a center of action. The action takes place on his part. Okay, he is called karta. There is a karma also in Sanskrit. Karma means an object of action. See, let us take writing or eating. You take anything. When you eat, eating is an action. This eating requires a person, a subject who eats. Without a subject, a person who carries out this action, who initiates, carries out this action, the action of eating, the act of eating cannot take place. Okay, so there should be a person or an animal, any living being which eats. Now, the object of eating is something to eat, like a fruit. So let us take a fruit. You eat a fruit. So fruit is required for the act of eating to take place. So the act of eating requires mainly two, the subject and an object. The subject is also a basis for the action. Basis means a subject is also required. So the eating takes place upon the object of eating. And also subject is the one who eats. But there is a difference between subject and object. The agent of action and the object of action. Agent of action is the one who initiates action. Action moves, starts from him, whereas an object is subjected to it. Object is subjected to it. It is eaten. The act of eating starts from the subject, from the eater, not what is eaten. What is eaten gets consumed in eating. Though the act of eating takes place upon food, but food doesn't initiate the action. It is the karta who initiates. Therefore, he says, Atma is not karta. Prabhu is Atma. Atma is neither an agent of action. He is not an agent of action means that all that quality, all that nature, all that character that is required to be an object, to be a subject, to be an agent of action, all that is not there in the Atma. Three things I mentioned. Atma has to be an individual. The action has to initiate from him. Okay. Kartrutvam means he is the one who initiates action. He has got a particular shape, particular form. He should be a limited being. He can't be limitless like space. Okay, and he should have a particular shape so that he can change. So Kartrutvam requires that he should be an individual. He should exist in time and place, and he should be subject to change. These three are involved to become an agent of an action. So Atma is not an agent of action, means Atma is free from these three. Atma is free from these three. That means if I am a body, definitely I undergo change, or the action takes place. Body does action because it has got a shape, it exists within time and place, and it undergoes change. So body can be the agent of action. But he says Atma is not. That means when he says Atma is not an agent of action, it shows Atma is something more than the body. Atma is something different from the body. Body can constitute an agent of action, but Atma can't initiate. Atma can't undergo a change. Atma can't move, nor it can carry out some action. Therefore, Atma can't be an agent of action. Because to be an agent of action, he should have a form, a changeability, and also bound by time and place. Okay. So body can be an agent of action, but Atma is not. That means Atma is different from the body. Mind can be agent of action. Mind means the intellect, the thought, but Atma is not. This means Atma is not even the mind. Atma is neither the body nor mind. Then what is it? It is something more than it. It is just a pure consciousness. The consciousness, when it is identifies with a body, the bodily changes, bodily movements, bodily features, body's activity, character, everything it takes upon itself. But Atma in its real nature is neither the body nor takes the bodily qualities, bodily features upon itself, because it's not bound by time. Consciousness is a witness of time, past, present and future. It is witness of time and space. So consciousness is a part of time, is not a part of time. Consciousness doesn't exist in time. It's not located in time. Being located in time means one point of time or a period of time. Consciousness does not mean a point of time or a period of time. The point or a period is experienced within awareness, within consciousness. Consciousness is aware of time. Consciousness itself doesn't undergo time, is not subject to time. That means consciousness is neither point of time nor a period of time, nor it is related as a past, present and future, before and later, previous and later. Okay, previous and later is a relationship of 2 points of time, 2 consecutive points of time. It is a relationship between previous and later. Consciousness, the pure consciousness, is not within time. It's not bound by time. It means it is not a point of time. That means it is all pervasive. Pointless means it doesn't have a location. It's not a period of time. That means it is infinite. It has neither a beginning in the past, nor it will have an end, nor it is a sequence. That means it is a pure existence. It is a pure consciousness without beginning and an ending. Beginning is a thought within the consciousness. Ending is a thought within consciousness. Nobody can see the beginning of consciousness, because consciousness knows everything. Itself is not known to anybody. Therefore, the consciousness is neither located in time, is not a point of time, nor it is a period of time, nor it is a relational time, that is a previous and later. Previous and later is a relation between 2 points. Consciousness is not a relation between 2 points, nor consciousness itself is related to something else in terms of sequence. Can you say first there was consciousness and later inert object, or first insentient and later sentience is born? So consciousness cannot see insentient objects as previous to it or later to it. Consciousness cannot relate to anything, an insentient thing, an unconscious thing, neither as a previous nor as a later, because consciousness cannot be related. The non-relational is timelessness. Timelessness means non-relational. Consciousness is. That's all. When you see the consciousness, it is non-relational. It is neither a point, nor it is a movement, nor it is changing, nor it is relational. That means in the consciousness you can be aware of these things, but consciousness itself is not subject to any of these things. Therefore, it is timeless. It is free from time. You can't think of consciousness in terms of time. Unrelated to time it exists. Its very existence is unrelated to time. Timeless. Timeless is pure consciousness. No relation possible. Neither before nor later, nor this much nor that much. No relational is possible. Similarly, consciousness is free from place, free from space. Consciousness is not located in one point of space, nor it is an area of space. Just as in time, point of time and length of time, that is a period of time we call. Time can be thought of in 3 ways. One is a point of time, length of time, or a relational time, previous and later. Sequence, that is a relational. Past, present and future, like this relational. Similarly, space also can be thought of. One is a point of space, a location, or an area of space, or another is a relational space. Okay, this space and this place and another place. Another relational is in terms of near and far. Near and far is a spatial relationship of one thing with another. Spatial relationship in terms of near and far. One is the point of space, area of space. Another is relational space, that is near or far. Near and far are the relations. Okay, near and far. So we experience, we can think of space through these 3 ways. One is point of space, length of space, area of space, area of place, and also relational space, near and far. Time also, point of time, length of time, and relational time, that is a previous and later. It is a past and present, or present is related to future. So time can be thought of in these three ways. What the technically the scientists say, I don't know, but this is a common man's way of thinking, common man's way of understanding time and place, time and space. Okay. So I'm just using these expressions alone. So I leave. Technically, philosophers explain what is time. Scientists explain what is time. Oh, that's a highly technical one that I leave it to you. Here our purpose is to understand how consciousness is free from time and space. Consciousness is not limited by time. We can experience time only in three ways. One is a point, another is a length of time, that is a period of time, or relational time, previous and later. But consciousness can be thought of neither as a point, nor as a length, nor it is a previous later, because all these three ideas of point, length, and relation, all these three are known to consciousness. Consciousness itself is not subject to these three. Therefore, consciousness is timeless. You can do more. Should I analyze more? It is pointless. Means what? Consciousness is not now. This particular point you can't say. Nor consciousness can be thought of in terms of a length or area, period, because it extends beyond the period. Consciousness extends beyond the point. The point is imagined within consciousness. The length is imagined within consciousness. Consciousness itself has no length. If it has a length, then what happens? After that length is over, consciousness should disappear. Consciousness exists from one point to another point for this length. No, consciousness alone. It extends beyond two sides of the length. It extends beyond beginning and beyond end. That means it has no beginning and no ending. It extends beyond beginning. Extending beyond beginning means what? It has no beginning. It extends beyond end. That means it has no end. Nobody can ever experience the beginning of consciousness or ending of consciousness. Because even to experience that, you have to be conscious. So consciousness is there. That means time is experienced within consciousness. Consciousness itself is not bound by time. That means time is a smaller one, consciousness is a larger one. Consciousness swallows the time. Three ways of thinking the time, as I told you: point of time, length of time, or a period of time, and the relational time. Okay. So the consciousness is beyond these three conceptions of time, beyond these three ways of measuring or three ways of understanding time, three ways of measuring time. So consciousness doesn't fall within these three kinds of imaginations. Okay. Similarly, consciousness doesn't fall within the three kinds of imaginations of space. One is a point of space. Point of space means here. Point of time means now. Now means at one point, 2 o'clock, 5 minutes, 5 past 2. When we say now it is 31 minutes past 11. When we say 31 minutes past 11, it is one point. Can you point out at the point of consciousness? It has no point. Point is falsely imagined in consciousness. Consciousness is no point. At this point, consciousness is the next point, it is not there. No, that point doesn't exist for consciousness. Consciousness is pointless. That means it has no point of time. It always exists. It is eternal. What is eternal can't be a point. What is eternal can't be a length of time. A length. It starts For a while it lives and then ends. No, it doesn't have a length, like a span of life, like a length of life or a span of life. Body has a span of life. Okay? You are born at one time, live for certain years or for certain decades, then come to an end. So anything is born, lives for some time and ends. So it has got a span of life, a length of life. But consciousness doesn't begin and continue to live and doesn't end at a point. That means it doesn't have an ending point. It doesn't have a starting point. That means it doesn't constitute a length because it is eternal. Eternal means timeless. You can't think of it in terms of length or point. Nor you can think of consciousness, nor you can experience consciousness in terms of relation, previous and later. Okay. Thus it transcends time. It transcends space. I don't know whether I have told this. Probably I must have told. Anyway, you listen. I forget more than 2 months over. Then the space also. How Atma is not Karta. My purpose of explaining all this is how the consciousness, my real core, my real nature of me, the essential me is timeless, is spaceless, is beyond space. Beyond space means space can be thought of in terms of these three. One is a point of space, that is location. Point of space means location, area and relational. Space can be thought of by a common man in three ways. One is a location, Desha we call in Sanskrit. Another is area, Vistaraha, Desha Vistaraha. Desha is a Vistara. And it is a relational, near and far. You can't think of near and far. Consciousness is neither near nor far. It's always there. That's all. Therefore, consciousness cannot be thought of near and far. Near and far are the imaginations, thoughts within consciousness. Consciousness forms the basis for all these. Therefore, consciousness is beyond space. Where? You can't ask a question. Where is consciousness? When is consciousness? The idea of when is time that exists within consciousness. The idea of where is within consciousness. Consciousness, regarding consciousness, you can't ask where. Where? You can't answer. Where is consciousness? How do you look for it? Where is consciousness? There is no location. When is consciousness? When is not? When is it not? When you say it doesn't have a particular point, it is always there. Therefore, it is eternal. Consciousness in terms of time, eternal. Eternal is not a quality. Eternal you cannot be thought of. You see, you can think of time only in three ways. One is the point of time, length of time, and relational time. When you drop these three thoughts, you can't think of time. That means consciousness is there without any imagination of time, without any relations of experience of time. That means time dissolves in consciousness. Consciousness stands without time. Timeless means what? Consciousness stands without experience of time. Time is not required for consciousness to exist. No particular time, no length of time, no relational time is required for consciousness to exist. Consciousness exists even without any time. No time can be referred to, related to. You can't refer to any time. For any person, you can tell him, oh, you talk of somebody like Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. Oh, when was he? How many years ago? You have to ask. So you can relate to him. You can ask somebody else, how many years ago? Shankaracharya, how many years ago he lived? You can talk to him. Oh, it's quite long ago. But regarding consciousness, can you say when? When question fails. The question when doesn't apply to consciousness. It becomes meaningless. That's why we say time is wrong, time is false with reference to the consciousness. Therefore, Atma is timeless. You understand what is timeless? Atma transcends time. These are all words. We use words without seeing its connotation. Therefore, to explain the connotation, I have to explain so many things. At least some people need this explanation. Some of you are intelligent, you must have got it instantly. But certain others I am explaining how consciousness is timeless. Okay. That means you can't refer the consciousness to a time. But the consciousness itself, timeless, because no reference to time. Without any reference to any form of time, as I told you, 3. Point of time, length of time, and relational time. Without reference to any of these 3, consciousness exists. This is called eternal. Means it extends beyond its beginning and ending, beyond the length. It has no length. It has no relation. It has no point. Point means at this point is conscious. There is no point, because when it is there, before you point out it existed, and then you stop pointing out, it still exists. So the point doesn't mean anything in consciousness. Conscious has no point because it's always there. Conscious has no length because it's neither born nor dies. Always there. It is non-relational because consciousness is consciousness without any relationship. It doesn't depend upon any relation. It exists independent of relation. Previous and later. Consciousness is neither previous nor later. It is always there. It is always there. Therefore, consciousness is timeless. Consciousness is spaceless. Because in space you can't put it what point of space. Where does consciousness, you can say, where is your house? You say, so and so in colony. So and so town or city you can mention. Where is your house? Where do you live? You can give you an address. Consciousness has no address. Okay? No location. You can't search in the Google map for consciousness. Okay? Because it has no point, nor area, nor a relationship. Is consciousness away from you or near you? Neither near nor far, because it is yourself. So consciousness cannot be neither near you or far from you. Near and far, these relationships don't apply. And area and point also don't apply. That means any idea of space, any conception of space, none of these 3 conceptions apply to consciousness. When you experience, when you are the consciousness, you are always consciousness. So let us say from the standpoint of consciousness, these 3, location, area, and relationships, near and far, look meaningless. See, there is one thing in our life where space looks meaningless, time looks meaningless. Time is applicable. You can think of time regarding any other thing. When and how long and all those things. Then you can think of space about something, certain other things, worldly thing. Where is it? How long it extends? How area? What area it extends to? You can ask. But consciousness, you can't ask this question. Means you cannot think, you cannot imagine consciousness in terms of space. The question pertaining to space cannot be put. Even if you put, the question looks wrong. The question is a false with reference to consciousness. Because consciousness is not available for conceiving in terms of space. Consciousness is not available for conceiving in terms of time. That means it is timeless. It is spaceless. Then it is free from an object also. Object has a form, shape, and color, and certain qualities and certain power. Consciousness doesn't have a particular feature. Feature means a certain physical feature, certain quality, and certain certain feature, certain quality. Then that feature or quality is affected if suppose somebody, like a body, has got certain feature. It has got a form. It exists here. But it is subject to heat and cold and all other things. See, you hit it with a stone, it gets hurt. You hit it with a stick, it gets hurt. It can be pressurized. You give the food, it becomes strong. If you don't feed, it becomes weak. That means it gets affected. It is influenced by other objects. It has got a shape. It has got certain qualities, certain power. Consciousness is not an entity. It's not an object. Therefore, it doesn't have a particular shape, a particular features, particular qualities, particular power. No power, no qualities, neither good nor bad and small and big and all that. It doesn't enjoy any qualities, because consciousness is consciousness directly, that's all. Therefore, it's not an object. It's beyond an object, means it's beyond individuality. Consciousness cannot be thought of in terms of an individuality. Individuality is within consciousness. Same consciousness knows the whole world, whole cosmos. Consciousness is aware of the entire waking state, entire dream state. But consciousness itself cannot be imagined as an one object or several objects or a relative quality. It is neither an object nor power nor relative. It's not a relational quality. Consciousness is not a relational. It exists independent of relations. It exists independent of any particular quality, any particular feature. You take any object, it has got certain shape. Like book, when you say it has got a shape and thickness, length and width and thickness, and you can touch it, you can feel. Can you feel consciousness by touching? Not available. Can you see the length of consciousness? No. Width of consciousness? No. Thickness of consciousness? No. No particular physical features. No particular mental features. Is consciousness color? Does consciousness have any color? Is consciousness an emotional state of love and hatred and so on? Jealousy, disturbed mind or peaceful mind? Consciousness is not a state of emotion. Okay? It's not a state of emotion. Consciousness is not a state of a thinking. It's not a particular thought or idea or ideology. It's not a particular idea. Consciousness is not an idea. But you can think of any number of ideas, good and bad and small and big and all kinds of ideas occur within consciousness. Consciousness is not a given idea. Therefore, it can neither be compared nor contrasted with anything. It is not a relational, because no comparison, no contrast. A given object having a particular feature can be compared and contrasted with others. So relatively what it is, how much it is, you can say. You take a book, there is a bigger book. Compared to that, you can say, oh, it is a small booklet. But can you say there is a small consciousness and bigger consciousness and compare? No comparison, no contrast is possible. Therefore, consciousness has no location, no particular features of an object, of an entity. So consciousness is not a particular object or a particular person. It has no time, transcends time. It is timeless. It has no space, it transcends space. It is spaceless, locationless, relational-less. It is free from relations. Nor it is an object. Neither object nor subject, it's not an entity. But it is there, everybody's experience. Therefore, consciousness is, what do you call? Is consciousness. You can't say anything else. You can't talk of it. You can't talk about it. You can't interpret it. You can't explain it in terms of space, in terms of time, in terms of object. But action, a kriya, an act is a movement. An act is a modification. Okay? Act is a modification or a movement, etc. So consciousness is not available for any act. Therefore, Atma is akarta, na kartrutvam, na karmani. See, the shloka says, na kartrutvam. It doesn't initiate any action. It doesn't form the basis, an agent for an action to start. Nor it becomes an object upon which you act. An action takes place upon, Like if you are eating, fruit is an eaten. Fruit becomes an object of eating. So, na karmani. Lokasya srujati prabhu. Atma is neither karta, neither an agent of action, nor the very action itself. Okay? Nor Atma is an object of any action. Object of action means Atma cannot be the object of any kind of acts, like eating. Fruit is an object of eating. Some letter is an object of writing. Writing is an act. The result is letter. So, Atma is neither agent of action, nor the nature of action, nor the result of action. Why do we have to negate these things? Because we instinctively take ourselves to be an agent of action, doing some action, undergoing some change, and also ultimately reaching one point of experience. Undergo some change, reach one point of experience, and you start some kind of movement. Therefore, Atma is a karta, karma, and karma phala sanyogam. If Atma is beyond these three, consciousness is beyond these three, that means I have a notion about myself that I am an individual, I am an agent of action, I am acting now, I am undergoing some changes, and ultimately I reach one point, an end point. None of this is real nature of Atma. Atma itself is pure consciousness, no location. Therefore, entire cosmos is included. Entire cosmos is included in the consciousness. Therefore, then we are experiencing this karta, karma, and karma phala. Then what about all these things? He says, svabhavastu pravartate. They are instinctively found to be there due to ignorance. A misunderstanding. Svabhava is misunderstanding. Avidya. It is a misunderstanding that you find yourself to be an individual. It is a wrong understanding about your real you, a real you which is not an agent. You find yourself to be an agent. The real your nature is you are not an individual. Individual means you are the whole cosmos. You can't put it in one place. He is not an individual. He cannot be located. Entire universe is me. When entire universe is me, I can't be located. Therefore, Atma can be neither. So, two things are there. Atma, the pure consciousness, is neither an agent of action nor the result of action. But the experience of agency, that is kartrutvam and karma and the result, these things are not the nature of Atma. Though we experience that I am an individual, I am doing something, and I have achieved such thing. Achieving is the karma phala. Doing is an action. Seeing ourselves to be a doer, that I am a doer, this is an agency of action. When you see yourself as a doer of something, an agent of action, then you are automatically an individual. But Atma's real nature is neither it is individual, nor it is subject to action, nor it carries out an action, nor it reaches. It is beyond all these things. All these things are included in the Atma. Okay. Therefore, Atma is free from Triputi, Karta, Karma, Karma Phala. Karta, Kriya, Karma Phala. That is karma. But if they appear, they are only a misunderstanding. If you feel that you are an agent and you are undergoing some changes, I am subject to change, I am undergoing change. If you think like that, then you are under misunderstanding about yourself. There is a misunderstanding about yourself. The real self which is not subject to any change. You take yourself to be undergoing change. You yourself are beyond an individuality. You are not an individual. Consciousness, you are not individual. But you take yourself to be an individual like many things. There are many things in the world, many people, I am also one of them. If you take yourself as a one individual, a given individual among many, this is called Jiva Bhava. But here he says you are not an individual. That means as consciousness you are not individual. The individuality which you experience is falsely put upon you. Watch. You see that you are not an individual. Watch. Individuality is falsely taken upon yourself. You stand, but without an individuality. You are just there. Okay. Therefore, Atma is Swabhavastu Pravartate. This sense of individuality is a false perception about yourself. The right understanding is being free from individuality. Okay. Now datte kasyachit papam. We have repeated the shloka again. Anyway, next shloka I won't elaborate so much. I'll finish within 2 minutes. Only 5 minutes left. We started late, 10 to 15 minutes late. Okay. Nadatte kase. Okay. Regarding the result of action. So far in the 14th shloka, he told he is neither an agent of action, nor the very act, nor the result of action. Means all these three doesn't exist for Atma. But if you find them, they are imposed upon the Atma. Wrongly imagined, Atma is free from that. Anything wrongly imagined, it doesn't exist. So that doesn't pertain to the nature of Atma. Okay. Next shloka says, Nadatte kasyachit papam nachaiva sakrutam vibhu ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. 5th chapter, 15th shloka of Bhagavad Gita. Nadatte kasyachit papam. Atma can neither take somebody's papa, neither his own papa nor others' papa, nor can receive somebody's punya. See, some jiva does the punya and offers to Ishvara. No. Atma, that means Atma has neither punya nor papa. Punya papa come into exist in your relation with other. When you love them, care them, respect them, help them, there is a punya. Paropakara punyaya papaya parapedanam. This is the Vedavyasa shloka. He says, Paropakara. When you do good to others, that is punya. When you harm others, that is papa. Atma can neither do good nor can harm others. Because Atma is all pervasive, it all inclusive. When everything is myself, I can neither harm myself nor I can do good to myself. As long as the person is an another, you can do upakara. Or you can harm others. Two things are possible. You can help others or harm others. But Atma is such that it is all pervasive, it doesn't exclude anything, whole world is itself, all people are itself. In such an Atma, how can it harm others or help others? It can neither help others nor harm others. That's why there is neither punyam nor papam. But when you think that you are helping others, harming others, you take yourself to be a given individual, separate from all other individuals. When you take yourself to be a given individual, other than other people, different from other people, you are a part of the society where other living beings exist. So consciously, unconsciously, you exploit them, sometimes help them, sometimes exploit them. Sometimes take advantage of them, sometimes go out of the way and help them. So these things, helping and harming, obtain only in relations. Okay, in your motive, in your quality of relationship is called punyam and papam. Okay, a quality of relationship with another person, another being. Atma is free from punyam papam. Means what? Atma doesn't fall. Atma doesn't fall within this relationship. Atma is not an individual, one individual among the many, so that it can get related to others and in the process harm and help others. Because when he is free from individuality, there are no other individualities other than itself. It is a one whole being neither oneself an individual nor others are individuals. Oneself is neither an individual, nor there are individuals other than oneself. Once I see myself as an individual, as a part of other people, then the relations apply. If you abuse them, harmful, if you help them, you are the punyam. Atma can do neither punyam nor papam. That means Atma can be subjected to neither punyam nor papam. It's a pure consciousness I am talking, not as a jiva bhava. If you take jiva bhava as a jiva, as an individual, then you are subject to punyam and papam, because you will be doing always something good or bad. At least a small good or small bad. Something we keep doing, something good also. But Bhagavan Krishna says the real nature of Atma is such that it can neither help nor harm. Hey, why can't Atma help? Because to be able to help, two things are required. I should be an individual and there should be other people other than me. There are no others other than myself. And I am not an individual, I am the whole being, whole cosmos myself. All living beings are me. Now whom are you harming and whom are you helping? There is nobody to harm or help. Whole thing is one consciousness. That means the consciousness is free from individuality. Itself is a universal being, total being, all-pervasive being, all-inclusive being. Such Atma, because neither punyam nor papam, because punyam papam happens only on the part of an individual in relation with other. Atma is neither an individual nor related to other, because the others are me. I am not an individual. First, I am not an individual. All others are myself only. So whole thing is one being. This one being, non-dual being, no punyam, no papam. Punyam, papam, the question of punyam, papam comes into existence only if you are an individual. Physically individual, mentally individual. If you transcend the physical body and mind, you have no individuality, like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, are you an individual? No. Because you need to be individual, you have to be a body, you have to identify with a body and identify with mind, sense organs. Body, sense organ, mind make you feel that you are an individual. And once you are an individual, you find other individuals other than me, other animals and human beings and anybody other than me. Then when I am an individual, I have to live, I have to make myself comfortable and happy. Then you have to take advantage of others, take help of others. If somebody doesn't help me, go and hit him. Then you will be harming others. You are helping others and harming others, because others exist other than you. You are an individual. Okay. But here the Atma in its real nature. Now he says two things. Atma neither harms nor helps. Means what? We are not talking that you should not help, you should, that is only Dharma Shastra. Okay. We are not talking of it. We are talking of the nature of Atma and who is real Atma. There are two things. You take yourself to be an individual Atma, then as an individual Atma, you are subject to punyam and papam. But Atma's real nature is such that it is free from individuality, therefore it is incapable of punyam and papam. Atma in its real nature is neither capable of helping nor capable of harming, because second person doesn't exist other than itself. Because neither I am an individual nor I see somebody else other than me. Two things, these two do not exist. It is all pervasive, all inclusive. All pervasive, all inclusive consciousness has no punyam and papam. But if you feel that you have a punyam and papam, oh, you are helping and harming, you always think of it. While relating it, your motive comes. Either think of helping or think of, you don't like a person, then that means you are hurting. You like a person, then that means likes and dislikes come into exist only in relational. Relation is possible when you are an individual and there is somebody other than you. That means punya, if you feel that you are an individual related to other, that is not your real nature of Atma. In your real nature of Atma, in your real understanding of yourself, you are not an individual nor you are related to others. Being individual and being related to others is individuality. That individual is subject to punyam and papam. Atma is subject to neither punyam and papam. It means is not an individual, nor it is separated by other individuals. He himself is neither an individual nor he finds other individuals other than itself. I am non-individual, all-pervasive. Then everything is myself. The consciousness is all-pervasive, all-inclusive. So at that level of pure consciousness, pure Atma, no punyam papam is possible. See, when you say Atma has no punyam and no papam on its part, how do people understand? I don't know, people may understand their own way. You need a guru's teaching to understand the right meaning of this kind of teaching is a prakriya. It is a method of teaching. It has got some deeper connotation, deeper implication. That implication stands correct in your anubhava. In your experience, you can see that is the nature of Atma. Okay, ajnane. But if you feel that you are an individual, then that itself is your misunderstanding. Ajnane navrutam jnanam, tena muhyanti jantavaha. People find themselves in a misunderstanding about themselves. What is that? I am an individual separated by all other people. That you take yourself to be an individual is ajnanam, is a misunderstanding, is an adhyasa. And because of this misunderstanding, you feel confused, further misunderstanding arises, you end up doing good and bad karmas. Then as the result of good and bad karma, you will have to suffer pain and pleasure. Okay, all this is due to ignorance. Okay, today I have repeated 14th and 15th shlokas. I don't remember in 2 months ago whether I have already stated all these things or I am explaining differently, or I have just repeated what I have told, because as I told you, each time you give me the shloka, some new idea comes, new way of explanation comes. I can't repeat my own old explanation. Anyway, so 14th and 15th we have just revised, repeated. Now the 16th we have to say, now once you get jnanam, an ignorant man takes himself to be an individual and also takes himself to be, as an individual, being separated from others. But how does jnani understand? Jnani means a person who understands himself rightly, his own Atma rightly. Jnanena tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmana. Those people whose misunderstanding is corrected by the right understanding about himself, such people's knowledge, his understanding of himself shines brightly like the sun. Okay, their understanding shines brightly. 16th is more an introduction to the 17th. Then what is that nature of Atma which shines brightly? You told, how does it shine? What is its nature? What is its shining? How is it? 16th is only an introduction to the 17th. Atma, see, when Atman is understood rightly, it's a misunderstanding about itself that I am an individual. It is a misunderstanding. This misunderstanding is corrected. You understand yourself as a free from all individuality. You are all pervasive, all inclusive. You are the whole being. This understanding is your knowledge, state of knowledge. In this knowledge, your nature of Atma shines on its own, self-shining Atma. The nature of Atma spontaneously shines. You don't have to worry, because you understand yourself clearly and correctly. Okay, what is that correct nature of Atma? In the next shloka 17th is going to say the nature of Atma and the sadhana to attain that Atma, both. Nature of Atma and the sadhana to Atma are implied both. We shall discuss it in the next class, next Sunday. We are discussing Gita in English only on Sundays. Okay? This Sunday and the next Sunday. We are discussing Gita only on Sunday, that too in English. Other classes are different in Kannada and English. Sugama is in English and Vedanta Paribhasha, Vishuddha Vedanta Paribhasha in Kannada. That you know the days, timings. Timing is 11 to 12. A little bit starting point, ending point fluctuates a little bit, 5 or 10 minutes, because there are many factors. If I go rigid, then you may get only half an hour class per day. Therefore, I just take little bit freedom. Okay. So 16th we have finished now. It's more of an introduction. It's only telling when you understand the Atma's real nature, that is your own real nature. Your misunderstanding about yourself that you are an individual, subject to action and subject to punya papa goes away. As an individual, I am subject to doing good and bad, and I am subject to pain and pleasure. This individuality will not be there. You transcend individuality. You will be free from individuality. Therefore, you have no other individuals other than you. That is the right understanding of Atma. Anyway, we will discuss a little bit more about this understanding of Atma. And also, once you understand how will be that nature of Atma, that will come in 17th. We'll say a little bit on 16th also, that Jnanam, how does the Jnanam takes place? Then as a result of Jnanam, what is the nature of Atma? In your understanding, when the Atma rightly understood, how does it look? When Atma rightly understood, how does it look? Okay? How does it look means when you understand rightly, how do you feel yourself? How do you understand yourself? So that will be discussed in the 17th, next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.